Ba-la-la-la-la. How's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta. I hope you guys like my terrible Baymax impression. But anyways, today we are going to do the review of the high grade Gundam Age-1 Titus from an anime series, Mobile Suit Gundam Age. Give a brief summary of what the anime is about. Think of it as like a generational story, something similar to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but instead it's condensed down to 50 episodes, I believe. I mean, it only goes up to age 3, but right now we're gonna do the OG age 1. And how could I forget? The anime series is an alternate universe, so very different from the Universal Century timeline. And in the anime, this is one of those Gundams or mobile suits that switches packs or different weapons, like how the Gundam Age-1 Titus is more for like heavy hitting, while the Gundam Age-1 Normal is more for a standard Gundam loadout. Yes, I will be taking a look at that mobile suit soon. And right now, let's just focus on the Age-1 Titus. Looking at the box art, we see the Gundam Age-1 Titus did some sort of charge attack on the gap round in the background, and also don't mind the damage right there. I was trying to peel off a price sticker, but somehow it ruined the box. This side of the box, we have a front and back shot of the Age-1 Titus, and it also says fun to build Gunpla. Yes, it is. Get your family and friends to build them. Continuing on this side, we also see the action and ornaments, and take a look at this, a kneeling pose. Taking a look at this side of the box, we see some still shots from the anime, what the Age-1 Titus looks like in the anime, and we have a CG render of the art. Before I open the box, one thing I want to tell you is that when it comes to those high-grade Gundam Age kits, they are very cheap. And no, that does not mean they're bad. It means they're still fun to build and paint. And it also means there's not a lot of plastic to deal with. And anyways, inside the box, we are dealing with 3 bags of runners and a manual. So looking at the manual, we see a familiar box art, and going down here, we already saw a familiar still from the anime and a what the H1 looks like in the anime. We also have the main pilot of the Gundam, and we also have more still images from the anime. And for those who are curious, the pilot name is Flit Asuno. So inside the manual, we are greeted with nice action poses, and we see a familiar front and rear shot. And taking a closer look, we have more images from the anime. Taking a look at the lower half, we have more images from the anime. Right here will be the mechanics and the weapon. I know it's in Japanese, but I'm pretty sure it's explained very well on the wiki page. And right here, and this is what I mean about different variations of the H1. So we already saw the H1 normal. This would be the H1 Spallo, and right here would be the coloring guide if you want to paint it. Looking inside the manual, it looks like we're going to be using all the parts, and you're going to start out with the body. Let's see, the head, and you're going to start with the arms, more arms. And you're going to start with the feet, and then the legs, the thighs, the knees, the usual, and the waist. And continuing on this side, it shows the waist being completed, and it shows how you can put on the effect parts, and that's about it for the manual. Starting off with runner A is going to be a multi-color runner, going to be in standard Gundam colors of white, blue, yellow, and red. Now, keep in mind, this runner specifically is going to be for the of course, the Age-1 Titus. It also goes for the Age-1 Normal and the Spallo as well. And of course, how could I forget the Age-1 Full Glanza? But it's kind of the same kit as the Age-1 Normal, except with more armor and bigger guns. Skipping B and C, we go straight to runner D that are specifically for the Age-1 Titus, and they are the gray joint parts. And if you're asking where our runners C and B are, they're gonna be in the H1 normal, which again I will review soon. Going in depth in the D runner, we also have parts for the hands. Looks like we have parts for the backpack, waist parts, I believe those are knee parts, And we also got a waist part right there, and I believe that's a part for the head. Runner E is going to be the big red parts like you saw for the arms and the legs. Runner F is going to be more white parts, and look at that, looks like we're going to have some thick thigh parts. Runner G is going to be the effect parts. These are going to go on the shoulder and the knees, and right here are going to go on the wrist. A medium-sized polycap runner, and one small sticker sheet. I really want to say this, but I can't jump into my final thoughts already, so I'm going to put this kit together and I'll see you guys right after the build. And here is the Age-1 Titus all snapped together, and I gotta say, putting this kit together is actually very fun and very simple. And funny thing is, when I was building it, I was telling myself, man, I should get a master grade of this kit. Not only the build was fun and simple, but the color separation was actually really nice. Because you can kind of say that Bandai was kind of ahead of its time. The kit did come out in 2011 though. Knowing that this is a high grade, yes, you do need to do some detail paint, but for this review, I'm not going to do any detail painting because I am planning on doing a complete paint job on this kit. And in terms of design, the Age-1 Titus is one of my favorites out of all the three, out of the Age-1 Normal and Age-1 Spallow, and of course the Age-1 Titus, because I do love like the bulkiness of the mobile suit. And also, can you imagine this thing going up against like the Shining Gundam? I mean, that would be an interesting fight. Moving on to the back of the mobile suit, yeah, I am really digging the spoiler on the backpack. And one more thing is that of course, when you're working with dark plastic, you are gonna deal with some nut marks, but like for me, I am gonna give it a complete paint job, so I don't have to worry about that. But I still have to like just set it down, so that's not gonna be a big problem for me. Once again, one of my favorite designs out of the Age-1, and I really dig the proportions on this kit. All right, so moving on to accessories. For hand options, all you get is just a closed fist. If you want more hand options, you better go check out the master grade, but in a high grade, that's enough for me. You get 2 of these big giant beam rings that goes on the wrist, and you get 1, not 2, not 3, but 14 of these beam spikes that goes on the shoulders and the knees. And if you want to attach these, first on the beam spikes, they go on like a certain angle, so you better pay attention how they put in. Just like so, and you're going to do the same things on the rest of the holes, and it'll look something like this. And to attach these big beam rings, first you want to take out the hand and the wrist cuff, attach the ring, put the cuff back in, put the hand back, and there you go. Do the same for the other side, and he looks packing. And you want to know how to make it better? Going back on the shoulder, you might want to, or actually you should pull this out, and it would extend this, and you're gonna do the same for the other side. And whoo boy, it looks like he's about to charge at you. You also do get extra parts, which would be the shoulder piece. If you don't like the red shoulders, you can always have the blue ones. And you also have this piece, which goes on the chest right there if you want to cover this up. And as for sticker placement, well, you're in luck. There's only 4 stickers. As for the eye stickers, well, of course, that's pretty obvious. And this sticker right here goes in the chest. But if you paint it, well, you're in luck. It is separated so you can easily paint it. This sticker right here goes on the forehead, while right here goes into the back of the head. As for seam lines go, there's one right here on the, I guess the shin parts. And there's one right here, which is on the forearms. Well, luckily everything fell by itself, so it's easy for me to explain. There's a seam line right over here, and right here all over the forearms. And right over here should be, well, it is a seam line, but that makes it more like a panel line detail. So other than that, not a lot of seam lines to deal with, and that's really good. If you want to attach this on an action base stand, you gotta get under there, pull the cover off. Easier said than done. Attach it right over there. Here is the Age-1 on an action base stand, and I gotta get this cool action shot. Let me just throw the Shining Gundam in there. Yeah, now that looks pretty nice. Now let me know in the comments below who will win the fight, the Age-1 Titus or the Shining Gundam. Now that everything is removed, let's go to the articulation. The head is going to be on a double ball joint. Your arm can move up that high, it can move forward and back, bicep swivel, bend on the elbow a little bit more than 90 degrees. The wrist is on a ball joint. There's a ball joint on the upper torso, and you also get a waist swivel. But don't do the forward crunch too far, otherwise you'll pop it easily. The front skirt is on a ball joint, and it can move up that far, and the side skirt is also on a ball joint and it move out that far, and the back skirt can move out that far, which is really nice. The leg can kick up this height. Try not to go up that high. Anyways, it goes up that high, can move back that far, can move out that far. Thigh swivel, and you get a bend at the knee, way more than 90 degrees. This is a really nice knee bend, and you also do get some nice knee separation gimmick, or armor separation if you want to call it. So get this hip articulation, which you can move side to side. And for the feet, it can rock back and forth, can go up that far, move down that far, and you also get it's a pretty small pivot, but doable. And you also get a thruster that is on a ball joint. And here is a carryover from the Age-1 normal, which could carry the beam rifle, but since it doesn't use any weapons, it's just there. So overall, the articulation is good, but not great. But at least you can still pull off some pretty sick poses, like the jump attack pose I showed you a while ago. But due to the design, I can see why the articulation is not, well, I wouldn't say not good, but not as, how do I say it? Modern, maybe that's the right word I'm looking for. I can totally let that slide. As for size comparisons, here he is right next to the standard RX-72, and they're about the same height. And just for the hell of it, here he is right next to the high-grade Shining Gundam. And oh man, I'm actually kind of surprised that the Shining Gundam is like almost there in terms of height. If you want to know about the Shining Gundam, check out my review. And the fact I had to adjust the camera to get these two guys in shot. Here he is right next to the Earthrise / Kingdom Optimus Prime and the NECA 1994 version of Godzilla. So for my final thoughts, I gotta say the high-grade Gundam Age-1 Titus, it's actually a really nice kit. Now, getting those Age kits, I feel like it's kind of hard to get nowadays, but if you see one, I highly recommend it. Sure, this kit came out in 2011, but hear me out. Nice proportions, pretty good color separation, pretty good articulation. I mean, how does not stand up to modern day high-grade kits? I mean, yeah, sure, it doesn't have enough surface detail. I forgot to mention that earlier in my video. I mean, you can go ahead and experiment scribing on that if you want to. And the best of all, it's pretty cheap. I got this kit for like less than $15. And who knows, maybe someday in the future I'll get my hands on the high grade, well, not high grade, excuse me, the master grade version of this kit. For accessories, yeah, what you see is what you get, but it is enough to satisfy you. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more content. Comment if you have any questions or if you have any experience with this kit. And don't forget to smash that like button. And yes, I am going that far if you want me to be a cringe YouTuber. And I will see you guys in the next video. Just one more cool shot of the Age-1 Titus versus the Shining. I still want to see him duke it out.